Thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. We're going to start the Unsafe Building Commission meeting for, this will be January the 16th. Can we get a roll call, please?
Dwayne Heater,
Here.
Diane Whitehead,
Here.
and Rhonda Dooning.
Here.
Okay. Have any questions on the minutes?
If there aren't any questions, I will make a motion that we approve the minutes for the November 21st, 2023 Unsafe Building Commission meeting.
I make a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Ms. Vessels, do we have the proof of publication?
Yes, Mr. President. So I do have two proofs of publication, and before I state the proof of publication details, I would like to ask if there's anyone in the audience who was going to show up for 116 Randolph Street. And seeing no one in the audience, we do have a proof of publication for that, but we will ask the board to table that particular line item on the agenda because of an issue with the order. So I do have proofs of publication. They both state the time, date, and place and the items on the agenda for these hearings, and I would ask the UBC to make a motion to accept both proofs of publication.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Is there anybody here to speak on any of the properties this morning? And please rise and to be sworn in.
You all swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like there's no old business. The first property is 213 South 12th Street. It's a cost hearing. Sherry?
Good morning.
Morning.
Just a recap on this property. This was the second emergency vacate cleanup and sealing of this property. So I'm just going to show you some before pictures. You can see here why we had originally went there was because of the combustibles, smell of the gas, and lots of trash and debris around the gas cans and things like that. Back door was open. Plywood had been taken off of the windows that I had previously had sealed. Again, a bunch of trash and debris, inoperable vehicles, junk. So we did an emergency vacate, sealing, and cleanup on this property. Here's after pictures. You can see where we had the law department send them a letter giving them 48 hours to vacate the property. It was unfit for human habitation. There was no running water or electric. And here's the contract, with the contractor being A1 Property Management LLC in the amount of $1,583.20. And here's a copy of the title search that shows that it belongs to Donald Ballinger and Brian Ballinger. And then also the publication for the notice of the hearing for the cost and claims for payment. And the cleanup, sealing, and tear down amount was $1,583.20. The administrative fee is $1,740. Total amount $3,323.20. I'm now asking the Unsafe Building Commission to make a motion to affirm the costs associated with emergency action taken to vacate, seal, clean up, and tear down the fencing of the property located at 213 South 12th Street in an amount not to exceed $3,323.20.
Is there anybody here to speak on this property? Are there any other questions or? Go ahead.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to affirm and acknowledge the administrative liens costs to the apply to the property located at 213 South 12th Street Owners are Donald and Brian Ballinger in the amount of $3,323.20.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. We are tabling the property at 116 Randolph Street. So we move on to the property at 205 North 18th Street. It's an emergency cleanup. Ms. Ritchie?
Okay, 205 North 18th Street, I was requested to go there because this property was full of junk, rubbish, inoperable vehicles. Basically, things were piled up so high, it was almost as high as the fence. You can see here in these pictures that there were combustibles, gas cans, and propane tanks in the backyard. Again, inoperable vehicles. Everything was in close proximity. This is on the east side of the property in the backyard. Again, junk tires. You can see all over the property that it's just so high. Again, on east side of the property. And in the front, on the west side of the property, there was also a propane tank. I think there was also like a big, huge tank in the front, and then there was excess rubbish and junk piled all over the porch. So we were afraid that this, property could have the capability of catching on fire just due to the combustibles plus all of the loaded up junk and debris. In the back side here, you can see there's clutter, junk, rubbish on the south and north side of the property also. Basically, the entire property had trash and debris. So I respectfully ask the Unsafe Building Commission to make a motion to affirm the action taken for the emergency cleanup taken at 205 North 18th Street.
Do we have anybody here to speak on the property at 205 North 18th Street? Yeah, go ahead.
Both of these parties are deceased. Is there family that it's gone to? Family that this request has gone to?
I do not know that answer.
I thought
So-
they were. Is Sam not? I thought he,
We sent correspondence to the 205 North 18th Street address. We don't always know when someone's deceased. I was also able to locate an address in 804 West 6th Street in Connorsville. And then we always send letters to the occupants,
Okay.
regardless of what their name is, the occupants of 205 North 18th Street.
I actually did take a copy of that letter and tape it to the mailbox as well.
okay, I don't know that anybody's even living there, but they might be.
Actually, I think
I just,
I have a picture.
I mean, it's got to be cleaned up one way or another. I mean, it did, so.
You don't think there's anyone living at the 205 North 18?
The last time I was aware there was not, but there it could have changed.
I actually talked to the people.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And you can see from this picture, I actually took a picture.
Okay.
Where I taped it on there, so
got
the
it,
people that were living there would know what we were going to do.
okay.
It is a single-family residence, or it's not a rental that you're aware of, or?
I don't know.
It's a single family.
Okay,
It's actually a
I don't know,
unit.
yeah,
okay.
but I don't know if it was
Okay.
rented or not.
Let me clear, this one's emergency cleanup, you've already cleaned it up?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Then I'll make a motion to affirm the emergency action taken by the environmental authorities for this property located at 205 North 18th Street, as recommended by the enforcement authorities and based upon the information provided by the enforcement authorities with respect to the condition of the property.
Second,
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. The next property is 618 South E Street. It's an emergency demo and cleanup. Ms. Ritchie?
Okay. This property I had actually had cleaned up less than a month prior, and the people came back in and trashed the outside. This property caught on fire, and I got a request from the Richmond Fire Department to come over and take a look at it also because of the degree of fire damage there was to this property. As you can see, there's fire damage, missing windows, broken windows on the east side of the property. Again, Joe Buckler from the fire department said that the 2x4s that were supporting the joists were almost 100% charred, indicating a possible immediate roof collapse. You can see, especially in the second picture, that you can actually see through the roof, the holes. So this is a very dangerous situation, and it was right across the street from a park. More trash and debris. Like I said, I had just had this property cleaned up a month prior, and all this was back out into the yard. More pictures from the back on the north side of the property with just junk and debris. You can see some combustibles here. On the east side of the property, there's a propane tank there, generator, flammable paint cans. And this is the after picture of the property where it has been seeded and is no longer there. So I respectfully ask the Unsafe Building Commission to make a motion to affirm the action taken for the emergency demo and cleanup located at 618 Southeast Street.
Do we have anybody here to speak on the property at 618 Southeast Street? Have any questions? Let's see.
Do you want me to adopt this?
Sure.
Okay. So I make a motion to adopt the statement of the environmental authorities as a finding of the commission based on the evidence and testimony, and to affirm and submit the order, and that the order become a continuous enforcement order. Is that the right one?
Wait, this
that's
isn't the re,
Yeah, we need the emergency motion.
right. You need to-
The one up here?
That one,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Then let me restate this. I'll make a motion to affirm the emergency action to take the enforcement authority for the property located at 618 South E Street, as recommended by the enforcement authorities and based upon the information provided by the enforcement authorities with respect to the condition of the property.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. And the final property is 913, or is that 913 Sheridan Street? It's an emergency demo and cleanup. Inspector James?
Thank you. Start with a demo. There was a fire at this address that left damage throughout the structure, the majority of the damage being within the structure itself. With people going in and out of the property, scavenging, and with the extent of the internal damage, the need to have the structure demolished was high due to the risk of public safety. Also, the house being right up on the sidewalk. Code enforcement requested authorization for an emergency demolition due to fire damage. This is the front view of the structure facing west. You can see fire damage on the south side of the window in the soffit area. This is the west view, a little closer. You can see in the top view, you can see some black outline from where the smoke and fire damage was up at the top. This is the north side view of the structure, showing the windows open and the fire damage to the top window. And the outside of the structure, you can see where some of the siding is peeled away from the building. This is a closer view of the structure, south and north side. Shows fire damage to the window, siding, and soffit area. It's a little closer. And I put this on here because we did the cleanup, and people were coming and going out of this property, and it was just a dangerous situation for them.
The picture says 931 is it 913 or,
Yeah, it's
just
913.
double checking.
That's a typo.
Thank you.
And this is the final pics of the structure from the west, showing the demolition and how the property looks now. I'm now requesting that the Unsafe Building Commission affirm the action taken for the emergency demolition of the property located at 913 Sheridan Street.
Thank you. Is there anybody here to speak on the property at 913 Sheridan Street? Okay, or do we have any questions?
I do. I didn't see the homeowner. I guess curious, there was there was no insurance on the property, or insurance company did not?
So this is what we reluctantly call a Ballinger property because it's owned by Donald and Brian Ballinger. We don't always know when there is insurance. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. But if there's an emergency situation, whether there's insurance or not, if there's an emergency situation and the can't be boarded up, that, you know, the siding's all warped and it's pretty evident that if you go in there, it could collapse. We don't always worry about stuff like that. We worry about, is this a legitimate emergency? And sometimes in cases with the Ballingers where you don't always have owners who are, you're not confident that they're going to go and get it cleaned up or tore down or fixed or repaired in any way, shape, or form.
And then I guess my second question would be, when you assign a lien to them, is that, I mean, is there any chance that the city would be paid back through that on the insurance, through insurance, or?
There are statutory measures to look into insurance. I believe I had prepared an ordinance for the former building commissioner a couple of administrations ago. There are statutory mechanisms to do that and go after insurance. But what we do is, in this case, we're still going to want to put the lien on. So after we go through the cost hearing with you three, we would then put a lien on the property. And so there's a possibility that if someone purchases the land while the lien's still on it, then the city would recoup those funds. The insurance component, again, that's something I went through. I believe the building commissioner was Bruce Osterling a couple of administrations ago. So it is something that is statutorily available. It has just not been taken advantage of by past administrations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay. I make a motion to affirm the emergency actions taken by the enforcement authority for the property located at 913 Sheridan Street in Richmond, Indiana, as recommended by the enforcement authority and based upon the information provided by the enforcement authority with respect to the condition of the property.
Second.
Have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Any other business?
So this next one's going to be the cleanup on the same property. This is what we initially went over there for. Code enforcement requested authorization for an emergency cleanup at this property. There was a series of combustible, flammable, and other fire hazards located at this.
Just a second. This one isn't on the agenda. I'm just double
It's
checking.
the same one. Are we,
Oh, you're going to,
Yeah, it's the same one. It's the,
Okay.
So I went through the emergency demo first, and I'm going to go through the
oh, okay,
Two
okay,
cleanup.
okay. Thank you. Sorry. Didn't you-
Thank you. There was a series of combustible, flammable, and other fire hazards located at this address. There's also broken glass from the windows laying down on the ground on the sidewalk and walkways all around the structure that pose a risk to the health and welfare of the public. Here's the front view of the structure as before. There were 2 abandoned vehicles that need to be towed, so we got those taken care of. There's fire hazard here, fire hazardous materials, two gasoline cans, pesticide and oil container. There's multiple combustible hazards with the propane tanks here. These are on the northeast rear of the property. This is the west and the south side of the property. There's broken glass on the property. It's kind of hard to take these pictures of the glass in the yard, but there was plenty of it there. This is the east side rear. This is the backyard. This shows the trash and debris that's located there. The south side and the north side respectively, there's trash and debris here. Just wanted to show a better picture of what's going on these two sides. Same slide. And this is the final pics. This is what it looked like after our contractor went over and cleaned it up. The west side picture and the northwest side. And this is the south side picture, and then the east side picture that was in the rear backyard. And this is a little closer. This is actually in the yard, so you can see that they actually cleaned it up. I am now requesting that the Unsafe Building Commission affirm the action taken for the emergency cleanup of the property located at 913 Sheridan Street.
There's still nobody here to speak on this property at 913 Sheridan Street?
Make a motion to affirm the emergency action taken by the Enforcement Authority for the property located at 913 Sheridan Street as recommended by the Enforcement Authority and based upon the information provided by the Enforcement Authority as respect to the condition of the property.
I second.
Just, yeah, or Ms. Vessels. Just checking that the last one on 618, we only did one motion, but it's on the agenda the same way.
And
What's
it
the
would have been
difference?
fine to have combined these two as well, but since he broke his thing down into two parts, that's fine. And actually, I'll note that when we come back for our cost hearing, there were two separate contracts. So that'll probably be under, they could probably be under the same motion, even though there's two contracts. But that's fine that this was broken down into two, absolutely.
Okay, okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Thank you. Is there any other business before I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for all your work.
You are watching Whitewater Government Television, WGTV, Channel 11, part of the Whitewater Community Television family of stations.